All right, good afternoon. This is our monthly Board of Commissions meeting held here at the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority's main office in Anya. The time is 12:03 p.m. And I will start with roll call. Commissioner Amelia?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Corpus? Present. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gillian? Right, speak. Commissioner Wright?
Present.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, we have quorum. All right, item number 2. Board meeting public announcements.
There we are.
Questions on the announcements that were printed? Okay. No questions for item number 2?
No, the first one published on September 14th, and the second one published on the 19th.
Perfect, thank you, Commissioner. All right. We're moving on to item number 3. Approval of previous board minutes from August 8th, 2023.
If I may, Vice Chair Nate, on page 2 of 8, under item number 2, intent of award, under the 3rd bullet, it indicates OH Construction submitted a bid bond of 15%, and for base bid number 1, $107,000. It just needs to show that it should say $107,875. That's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Director. Madam Director, can I get that figure one more time, please?
Page 2 of 8.
Sorry, excuse me, Madam Director, may I get that figure one more time, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. It says 107,000, but the correct amount really is $107,875.
Thank you, Madam Director. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
What the one that had one on it?
Huh?
$107,000. Really was there?
Commissioners, any questions on the approval of those minutes? Being none? Okay, I get a motion, please.
I will make a motion to approve the previous board minutes dated August 8, 2023, with the changes of item number 2. Is it 2 of page 2 of 8, under section 2, OH construction, the bid amount for, instead of 107,000, it should be $107,875.
I'll second that.
Thank you, commissioners. Motion approves. Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. Item number 1, resolution number FY 2023-021. The resolution approving above step recruitment for the accountant 1 position fiscal division. And we have Ms. Smith. Oh, Ms. Smith, excuse me.
Thank you. Resolution number FY 2023-021. Resolution approving above step recruitment for the accountant 1 position. Whereas under the enabling legislation of the authority, Title 12, subsection 5103 GCA, its Board of Commissioners is empowered to employ officers, technical experts, agents, and employees, permanent and temporary, as it may deem necessary, and shall determine their qualifications, duties, tenure, and compensation. And whereas Title 4 of the Guam Code annotated, the appointing authority or the head of an agency, department, or public corporation listed in 4 GCA subsection 4105A may petition the Director of Administration, the Judicial Council as to judicial branch employment, or the agency, department, or public corporation's governing board or commission as to an agency, department, or public corporation listed in 4 GCA subsection 4105A for recruitment at a higher step not to exceed step 10 because of documented difficulty or exceptional qualifications. And whereas on August 4th, 2023, Ms. Sunny Yoon Cho was selected to the Accountant 1 position and submitted her request to Executive Management requesting the GHURA Board of Commissioners review and approval of an above the minimum step recruitment for the classified position of Accountant 1 based on exceptional qualifications. And whereas Executive Management and the Board recognizes that the above step recruitment is a tool for positions that are difficult to recruit for and for those with exceptional qualifications. And whereas given the fact that accountant positions are in demand and are difficult to recruit for, Ms. Cho makes a compelling argument for an above step recruitment based on her exceptional qualifications, even at the Accountant 1 position level classification. And whereas the exceptional qualifications that Ms. Cho possesses for the Accountant 1 position beyond the required bachelor's degree consists of the following: accounting specialty with audit firms and Louis Vuitton stores, 2 years experience. She assisted with financial statements, performed field audit at different audit firms at Grant Thornton and Deloitte & Touche, daily sales reconciliation, monthly journal entry, assisted in monthly closing to meet the company's Hong Kong headquarters deadline, and internal audit assurance practice. Accounting duties along with management positions at various hotel companies with 7 years of experience. She compiled room and revenue data, forecasted 3 months of room and revenue, provided end-of-month room type analysis for revenue, prepared and proposed budget for resident room revenues, and created special room promotions. Whereas other supporting factors to pursue an above-step recruitment at the accountant level were, number 1, division manager's concurrence that she is a seasoned accountant 1 with over 9 years of work experience in the accounting field, 2 years specific to accounting and 7 years in accounting/management level duties. And 2, the HR recruitment data has shown recently, GHURA seems to only attract applicants coming straight out of college. And number 3, the fiscal team anticipates the retirement of their seasoned accountant 1 to occur in fiscal year 2024 or 2025. And number 4, with the government of Guam moving the compensation this April 2023, It has caused even more of a recruitment challenge as GURA now falls even lower behind the compensation of government employees. A review of the 22% increase now has the accountant one at Department of Administration, starting with a pay of $44,520, which will be in line with her request. And number 5, notwithstanding, the GURA Board of Commissioners requested in December 2022 that HR report back to them with an updated compensation plan in order for GURA to recruit and retain its employees. It is noted that moving the compensation plan will help reduce the number of requests for above-step recruitments. And number 6, it is HR's recommendation based on the above considerations and market conditions to support the petition to the Board of Commissioners for review and approval of Ms. Sunny Cho, Accountant 1, to step LG4-5D, $45,287 per annum, or $21.77 per hour. And whereas, since GURA HR has now completed the required disclosures and transparency requirements as stipulated in 4 GCA Section 6205, Executive Management now seeks the GURA Board of Commissioners for an above the minimum step recruitment for the Accountant 1 based on exceptional qualifications. And whereas management believes the compensation package of salary and benefits, an example, retirement, holidays, annual/sick leave, etc., to step 5, is fair and now respectfully requests an above step recruitment of Ms. Sunny E. Cho, LG4-5D, at $45,287 per annum, $21.77 per hour. And whereas the GURA Board recognizes it has the discretionary authority to go below or beyond management's recommendations, an example, LG4-2A at $36,917 per annum, $17.75 per hour, through LG4-10F, $61,781 per annum, $29.70 per hour maximum, but supports management's request for the above step recruitment. And whereas funding for this position is available from COCC funds, and be it further resolved that in consideration of the applicant's exceptional knowledge and experience, the GURA Board of Commissioners grants the above step requirement for Ms. Sunny Yoon Cho, Accountant 1, LG4-5D, $45,287 per annum and $21.77 per hour. Ms. Kim Berseman is available for any questions that you may have, as well probably Ms. Fran Daniele, who's with the fiscal department that the Accountant 1 position is for.
Thank you, Madam Director. Appreciate that. Kim, do you have
Hi,
anything to add to that?
Thank you, Director Liz, and Half the Day Commissioners. Like the director read off on our resolution, we are respectfully requesting your support. I've known in the past, like come on record and said I really scrutinized and really examined carefully about step recruitments. And you've seen me done that for accountants, engineers, and 1 PC. But when you have an accountant 1 level making a compelling argument, and we do have those other factors that can support it, we are respectfully requesting, and for me, it was to have that open mind, that it wasn't just absolute higher level positions, but she does make a compelling argument that even I would like to go on record to say I support it. And we respectfully request your support on that. I have Ms. Fran, she's the controller. She can recently attest that we do anticipate losing our seasoned accountant 1. And her previous employer was trying to counter offer. So typically, if you're a good employee, they'll counter offer. And if they're not, they won't counter offer you. So I think with the skills that we're getting, her additional management accounting skills will really add to the team. So I yield the rest of my time to Ms. Fran. She can opine on what she's seen so far. I would have liked to introduce you to her. She's on sick leave today.
She wanted to come in and I think we advised her not to with everything going around, trying to pick up here. We just said it was safer to just not report in, even though she wanted to. Right, Ms. Brent?
Yes.
Okay, I turn it to you.
So her name is Sunny, I think, and so she has, just in the time that I've worked with her, her work ethics is really excellent in that she realizes that the work that she does is very important. And even if I pointed out just one small error, she's really apologetic about it. And I don't, and I'm like, okay, it's not like so bad, but she'll be like, I'll do my best the next time. And then because she has managerial skills also, she understands when I explain certain things to her, why it has to happen instead of like, okay, why? Versus like someone who's not very experienced, they kind of you have to kind of give them the whole picture. With Miss Sunny, I just give her just enough information and she understands already why managers have to make certain decisions. And we've tested her in one area, which is a very important area, and that is paying our employees. So for accountants, no employee can be overpaid by 1 cent or under 1 cent, because that always adds up to an employee's salary. So she has done our payroll with very minimal mistakes. And when I say minimal, I'm talking like handful. That's minimal for me. It has to be less than that, because for me, payroll just has to be 100% accurate. So I do agree that she should be given, or that the board would approve her above step. She's worked at Grant Thornton, and if we all know what Grant Thornton is, it's an accounting firm also that is very hard to get into, and they are really prestigious. So they're kind of like one of the top 4 accounting firms, and she made it. So so I'm thinking even back then, so she's got to be sharp. And she also was employed by Deloitte, who also too, if you're going to be an intern there, you have to be kind of doing really well in accounting subjects before they even pick you up as an accounting intern. So, and she showed that with just my interactions with her.
I feel like this is the person we've met before.
I'm thinking that too.
Yeah, so I
We
feel
might
like
have-
I feel like we did meet her before. I feel like and maybe it's a different person, but I know there was an accounting. It was a G?
She's a accountant 3 now.
She was accountant
She's-
too. Yeah.
She's an
Okay, and
accountant
this
too.
was the position that we were gonna replace, right? Okay, that's the clarification that.
Yeah.
It's a deja vu for me, so, okay. So it was G and we met, and now this is the position we're filling
Yeah,
for her.
so that-
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
No. G was an accountant too.
Yes, but the vacancy.
Oh, the vacancy.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, I thought you were like saying
No,
for
no.
filling G's now accountant 2
The
position. No,
vacancy
the
we
accountant
recruited,
1.
and then-
Because she was an accountant 1, right?
G?
G?
No,
No,
no.
she was at 2,
Yeah,
and then we
So this is
promoted
not-
her
You're
to
promoted to
3. And
yes.
then we had the extra vacancy when the
For the
other
one.
one went to the AG's office, so we recruited technically.
They prioritized the recruitment to the 3 and said, okay, we'll come back to the 1.
Worked down.
Later, yeah,
Domino,
yeah.
worked from the top and filled.
Okay, then, yeah, I guess I'm confusing myself.
No, it's okay. It's getting
Yeah,
confusing.
Yeah, because I'm just like, wait, I thought this was already completed. Okay, I just need that.
Another.
Yeah,
Yes.
but their experiences seem to be the same. That's what
Mm.
I remember, is that these are the same experiences that we talked about the last person. So that's why I was thinking it was the same.
This one is,
It was the same
okay.
experience.
Kind of
I got
almost,
you.
this one has graduated magna. cum
Yeah.
laude, Other little things.
Where does this show, excuse me, what was her last?
Savant.
employment?
Sabaki.
That's right, that's-
Yes. And G was low tech, so maybe that's why, because they're like
Hotels.
hotel industry, maybe. Is that why?
They both come from the F&B industry,
So,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
hospitality.
I wish I had my books, I can go back, but it's okay. I mean,
yeah.
she's currently an accountant
One.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're just giving her a raise?
Also, what, adjusting her starting pay, because as entry level into the government, you have to go through the process, this
Yes.
process, before you can move anyone beyond the step one. So, she requested, she's paid at step one until the board,
Okay.
considers. her
Experience and
experience
additional
and
qualifications.
exceptional
Right, so she needed the criteria. to
Okay,
to
yeah.
justify the-
Right,
This was her request?
yes,
This was her
her
request.
request. And so, like I said, if
Because
you
we're
do
competing.
approve it.
Yeah.
It will be effective today, the rate will change as of today, not
Not
going
retro.
anything retro, that's illegal.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So with all of the employees that come on, they have a time limit to request a review or analysis for above step. It's
Right,
30
within
days.
10 days.
Within 10
sometimes
days.
before.
Okay.
And so then that's why there's like that time delay, because once they have that request, which is every employee's right to get, once they're selected and they're hired, then to have like that deeper evaluation to their experience
Yeah.
under the above step rules, regulations and law. And then Ms. Kim does a very thorough evaluation of that before we would even come to the board. So there's a little bit of a gap there from when she was initially hired, but the main thing for their part is they have to put the request in within 10 days.
And the other way around it, she could have said, I'm gonna stay at my current employer until it's a for sure thing with the board.
Right.
But she didn't, she wanted to come on board and take her chance and be paid at the lower end while her request gets reviewed.
Did she say why?
Okay.
Did she say why? She.
GHURA is a great place to work.
Okay.
To be honest, to go on the record, right? When we talk and, when we go through the interview process, there's always an official Q&A portion that we do document. Like, if you have any questions about,
Right.
right? If you have any
When
questions
we
about,
start,
after we get through all the official things, there's any interview would have general questions and they say, okay. And they ask, flat out, hey, do you guys get the same, are you on the same GovWan pay scale? And we answer honestly, we're not. We're on our own pay scale, but we, answer honestly that there are other benefits to working in GHURA that, we support a positive and healthy work environment, right? We try to be flexible. We encourage our employees to use their leave and we commit as management not to put them in a position where the work exceeds their ability to take their earned leave, right? Because then we accept that that's a failure of managing. So, there are things that we do to sell the agency. And as long as we're meeting our mission, and I think that definitely helps. And so my understanding of the request is basically to just have some parity with the pay, especially as we discussed, and her number of years, to justify and get to that point. Because the competition really in main GovWan is, of course, engineer, social workers, and accountants are probably the most competitive within GovWan, the GovWan sphere right now.
Yeah, so I think that we've been talking about reevaluating the pay scale,
Yeah.
right? So that way it could be more employer driven versus employee driven.
Mhm.
Okay.
and we do plan to come
I
back to
hope
the
so.
board. The board had instructed me
Yeah.
or requested of us to come back and we're as a team trying to balance the fiscal responsibility as well as the HR need of trying to keep pace with recruiting and attracting different
Maintaining
candidates
attraction of the agency while
while being
still
fiscally,
competing.
yeah,
in-
being
in order to
fiscally
compete.
responsible.
Amongst the many programs
Yeah.
and rules about those programs. Yeah, it's
As controllers, we don't share who we know is available to apply at our agencies. They would ask me, I'm like, no, who do you have? And they come, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give you my person.
All right, commissioners, any questions? Any further questions?
one alibi, if I may.
Sure.
There's a typo on the resolve clause. It should be read above step recruitment, not above step requirement.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any concerns, reservations, or questions?
None for me.
All right, seeing none, hearing none. So may I get a motion for item 1?
So I will make a motion to pass resolution number FY 2023-021, approving the above step recruitment for the accountant 1 position to Ms. Sunny Yoon Cho, accountant 1 at the pay level LG 4-5D, $45,287 per annum and $21.77 per hour.
I apologize. Just the formality, because you're gonna vote as amended. So the
It's amended on the resolve word, it should read. You want to read the-
No, just say as amended.
As amended.
No second that motion.
Hear the motion passed. Thank you, commissioners.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
because I didn't hear a second on the motion.
Oh.
Was it Mr. Corpus or Commissioner Corpus? I would recommend, Mr. Chair, that you go ahead and ask if there's further discussion. If none, then take a vote.
Yeah.
With regard to the motion before the board.
Oh, yes, correction. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
That would be second. Mr. Clerk, would you be so kind to reiterate the last part of your?
Yes, I was, you can just call to see if there's any further discussion now that there's a motion before the board. And if none, you can just go ahead and call for a vote, sir.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. So you have any question in terms of this, of item number 1?
No questions for me.
Okay. The vote passes.
Oh, but you can set it for a vote, sir. You can take a vote. You can go ahead and ask the commissioners to voice their vote.
Oh, yes, and we can have our commissioners.
Go ahead.
Show of hands, excuse me.
I vote for it.
Yeah.
Aye.
Show of hands. Thank you.
Unanimously passed.
It's been almost a month. Really forgot. Okay, moving along, item number 2, resolution number FY 2023-022. Resolution amending the public housing property site manager pay scale.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nate. Resolution number FY 2023-022, resolution amending the public housing property site manager pay schedule. Whereas under the enabling legislation of the authority, Title 12, subsection 5103 GCA, its Board of Commissioners is empowered to employ technical experts, such other officers, agents, and employees, permanent and temporary, as it may deem necessary, and shall determine their qualifications, duties, tenure, and compensation. And whereas, recognizing the need to remain competitive, the Board of Commissioners on May 11th, 2011, set forth and adopted an updated personnel rules and regulations that is consistent with merit principles and principles of equal employment opportunity and other laws pertaining to employment in the authority. And whereas the 2011 personnel rules and regulations included separate pay schedules for the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. And whereas in January 2020, the Board of Commissioners recognized the need to create a separate pay scale for the property site managers, as the starting pay back then caused retention and recruitment challenges for this critical management position. And whereas on July 11th, 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved the creations for several key housing positions, such as the housing procurement administrator, as well as amending the property site manager's position. Whereas GURA completed the required compliance filings with the Guam Legislature and the Department of Administration for the creations and amendment of positions respectively. And whereas executive management now respectfully requests the Board of Commissioners to amend the public housing property site manager's pay schedule to now read the 2023 pay schedule for housing management personnel attached, which includes an implementation slotting that addresses internal equity issues and/or for incumbent managers who fall below the new starting pay. And whereas, if approved, this pay schedule will incorporate both the housing procurement administrator and the property site managers, as they are now both the same pay grades, pay grade P. Whereas funding to implement the new pay schedule are from COCC and public housing funds incorporated in the FY 2023 budget. And whereas the Board of Commissioners recognizes the need to retain qualified individuals in GURA's housing leadership positions, and now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, GURA, pay schedule for the housing management personnel, which includes an adjustment slotting to address internal equity issues and/or for the incumbent managers whose positions fall below the starting salary. And once again, Ms. Kim, our HR administrator, is present for any questions that you may have, as well as our deputy director who oversees the housing managers.
I thought we took care of this already, where no one was below the pay.
Technically, in 2020, the late
Okay.
director and I became
Right.
of the board asking to improve or increase the starting pay for the property site manager. A little history for the new commissioners, the starting pay for the property site manager was at 39. And that's why we were coming to the board for an above step recruitment. And when we assessed the job, we felt the starting pay should move to 65 at the time. So given that history, we came before the board to say their job, we asked for an amendment of position for the property site manager. Their job has evolved, taking on procurement, a portion of small purchases on procurement. It more of the accounts receivables that we decentralized in the main office and moved down to the amps where they're functioning like a little mini GURA running away. So those duties have changed, and that's why we came to the board this past summer, asking the board to amend the part one, which was to
Right.
amend the position, which thankfully you guys approved. And then the other part of that was we created some new positions for us. So now that we created and we met the disclosures and the filings with the legislature and DOA, we're ready for part two, which is the pay schedule. Because when we approved it back then, we got board approval, it was only set at pay grade O. So now that we moved it to pay grade P, we felt we needed to come back to the board and request the board to set this new pay scale for pay grade P. Otherwise, we couldn't complete the process, and we wanted to keep it separate. Let's look at, when we came in the summer, let's look at the job itself and the justification for the need to create and amend. And then now we're at part two, which is the pay part, before we can actually finish implementing the people to move into those respective, should they qualify and should they be performing. So that's what we're asking for today, is to approve the new pay scale for housing management personnel. I see this as we recruit and people leave through attrition, we're going to end up having to add to this scale. So we respectfully request right now if we could establish by approving the pay grade P in order for us to implement the amendments and the creations respectively.
May I, to specify and make clear, so we created the position, right, or the board created the position. Now that the position was created, she had to evaluate it and apply the Hay methodology to determine what the pay schedule should be. Because there was no application of the Hay when the position didn't exist, so we couldn't even consider pay at the time. So now that the pays exist, we applied the Hay, based on the position description, based on accountability, responsibility, and technical know-how, problem solving. And it came up, the hay came up with the P. And so that's how we ended up. So it's P actually doesn't exist in GHURA's current pay schedule. This is a new, it's going into a whole new grade. So this is all. So this is novel, and that's why the board action needs to be to create now an extended scale, right, to account for these two positions.
Correct. And so we're gonna have them on the same pay scale for two different positions.
Yes,
Is
but
that-
the point, because how the
pay
pay
came up.
methodology comes up, they're different, they can, their ranges, one job can have a certain amount, but they fall within the same range of a grade.
Okay.
And so that's how, the points were different, but they ended up being on the same grade of P,
Oh, yeah.
range. So that's why I needed to come, doesn't
we need it,
exist,
right.
and then we need to establish it, and then we need to slot them.
Right.
Slot them accordingly now.
You didn't have a comparison.
Yeah.
So we have to set this.
And they're right sized, really. I mean, they're both so technical. I mean, I don't want to, I'm more than happy to bore you with the details, whether in the board or after, about the complexities of these and how much they do in terms of the scale of their programs. They may not seem like much, but you have a mix of program coordinator for grants management, warehousing, and everything that they oversee. And then the housing procurement is, I'll put up our
No longer
procurement,
supply.
yes, against any procurement manager in any GovWam agency, because our procurement manager has to navigate two sets of rules. And between the federal side and the local side, and that's on an almost case by case basis. So aside from that, it does require really on the technical side, and of course it's procurement, so accountability and responsibility are huge.
Yeah, I can speak for the, front side, now they do a heck of a job over there.
Absolutely.
I mean, even on just, being a resident up there, my folder is about 2 inches thick. And that's just everything that they got a process going through
Yep.
for each and every tenant that we're housing. It's a fantastic job they're doing.
And that's why the legislature gave us the power to, for specific to housing, the board has the authority
Right.
to establish the grades and the
Right.
creation. Task, that power gave the board power to do that. Specific to our industry housing.
And so we have a step 1 and a step 2. Can you just elaborate on that?
Oh, it actually extends out to step 20, but to save paper and just, we wanted to give you an illustration or an exhibit.
So-
Actually, what it looks like.
Okay.
I might have missed that meeting, that's why I'm asking.
Okay, we welcome it.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, I understand.
Thank you. We welcome
I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, it's such a huge jump for the procurement administrator, right?
Yeah,
From an O to a P, so I was just wondering were additional duties added or anything,
It
but
was
like you said.
Never considered the full
Yeah.
scope of what they were. I don't think that the PD was outdated for the
Okay.
SMA. I mean, we're talking
Just supply.
90s.
Yeah.
Just supply with like getting, it's much more than that. We have a whole procurement division that deals with easily probably closer to 40 million in procurement just on some of the housing projects and CDBG stuff. And so there is a lot of work there. Plus, it's not just the one that he's doing it. He's responsible also, and we're actually, and I'm sorry, I know I'm going off
No.
topic, but implementing all the SOPs that have generated, that belongs to that division to develop. And these are the procedures that are gonna make sure we're following procurement to the T. We reduce errors and human errors, and we're good fiduciaries over HUD funds. And
Makes
it
audits easier.
makes audits easier, make sure nobody gets in trouble and everyone's doing the right things, and it also streamlines our processes. So that's always been the envision of the procurement division, but we, what the pay was, we were very fortunate to get somebody to compete for the lowest paying position for what we always knew it should have been. And so just to go back, we're right sizing for what it should be. So, yeah, there's all these policies, procedures. It is a lot of work.
And that's why I'm shocked that both positions are at the same pay grade.
Yeah,
So I would think the administrator would be at a different pay.
a little higher, you mean? A little
Yes.
higher.
Because of the,
Well,
because they do
yeah.
budget, right?
Point
So
one
that's
six
why
came out
I'm.
higher than
Okay.
the
Yeah.
exam, but that range of the P fell
It's
within the
pretty
range.
much all. They're the two ends of the same
Yes.
spectrum.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I don't have.
Thank you, Ms. Kim, and thank you, Ms. Bay, and you for that. Commissioners, any further questions? Concerns on the matter? Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm good too.
Okay. All right, may I get a motion to approve resolution, approve item number 2?
I will make a motion to approve resolution number FY 2023-022, amending the public housing property site manager pay schedule.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other further discussions or questions before we vote on the matter?
I have none.
I just have one, it's we're resolution amending the public housing property site manager schedule. We're also doing the housing procurement administrator. as well.
Both.
So those are combined?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mhm.
Seeing no,
Mr. I was just gonna ask, if you could take a vote, sir.
yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else in the matter, show of hands, commissioners. Thank you, commissioners. Motion passes. Item number 2 is approved. Thank you.
Oh, boy, here we go. Okay.
All right, moving along, item number 3, intent of award. IFB number GHURA-23 CDPG-GPD-S, Guam Police Division Eastern Substation.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Intent of award, IFB number GHURA-23-02-CDBG-GPDESS, Guam Police Division Eastern Substation.
Mhm.
Bid opening for the subject project was held on July 28, 2023 at 2:00 p.m. A total of 7 contractors registered and 4 submitted a bid. Listed below are the results of the bid submissions, which were opened and read aloud publicly. Contractor number 1, Surface Solutions, with a bid bond of 15% and a bid amount of $2,346,298.20. Contractor number 2, Mega United Corp, with a bid bond of 15% and a bid amount of $3,098,800. Contractor number 3 was IAN Corporation at 15% bid bond with a bid amount of $4,171,892. Contractor number 4 was Art Construction with a bid bond of 15% and a bid amount of $8,183,186.78. The government estimate came in at $4,588,429.39. The intent of the project is to design and construct a new facility for the Guam Police Department beside the existing gymnasium located along Canton Ladera, Talifofo, Guam. The new facility will improve access to law enforcement and shorten the response time to the communities served by the Southern Police Precinct. The slash coverage for this facility includes the villages of Assen, Pidi, Agate, Yamadet, Mariso, Inarajan, and Talafofo. The analysis. While the project was actively in the procurement phase, GHURA released 2 addendums. Addendum number 1 was released on May 3rd, 2023, with a detailed design and construction criteria such as adherence to the International Building Code, IBC 2018 edition, specifying wind velocity at 195 miles per hour, terrain exposure category level C as per ASCE 7-10 with expectant seismic forces as per the 2018 International Building Code. The required rooms and its descriptions such as the firearms vault, evidence locker, and multipurpose rooms were also included. Addendum number 2 was released on May 4th, and I'm sorry, this was a typo. It says 2013 on your document, but it's really 2023. Released on May 4th, 2023. Instructed interested bidders to submit additional information pertinent to their company profile and qualifications. The addendum specifically requested for demonstrable evidence in the construction industry, such as applicable practicing licenses, past performance with verifiable references, personnel resumes, description of available assets, and bonding capabilities. GHURA-based addendum number 2 from section 4 of page 1 of 4, form HUD-5369, dated 10/2002, October 2002, instructions to bidders for contracts as found in the subject bid documents. Number 4, responsibility of prospective contractor. A, the PHA/IHA will award contracts only to responsible prospective contractors who have the ability to perform successfully under the terms and conditions of the proposed contract. In determining the responsibility of a bidder, the PHA/IHA will consider such matters as the bidder's number 1, integrity, number 2, compliance with public policy, number 3, record of past performance, and number 4, financial and technical resources, including construction and technical equipment. B, before a bid is considered for award, the bidder may be requested by the PHA/IHA to submit a statement or other documentation regarding any of the items in paragraph A above. Failure by the bidder to provide such additional information shall render the bidder non-responsive and ineligible for award. The evaluation of addendum number 1 and number 2. Contractor number 1, Surface Solutions, whose bid amount was $2,346,298.20. Contractor number 2, I'm sorry, for addendum number 1, nothing under addendum number 2, with a bid amount of $3,098,800. Ian Corporation, addendum number 1, addendum number 2, met addendum number 2, with a bid amount of $4,171,892. And contractor number 4 was Art Construction, who met addendum number 1, not addendum number 2, with a bid amount of $8,183,186.78. Notes. The X denotes the bidder submitted signed acknowledgement of the addendum and fully satisfied all of the addendum requirements. The recommendation was in review of the bid results and addendums number 1 and number 2. Ian Corporation provided the lowest responsive and responsive bid. Surface Solutions and Mega United provided bids lower than Ian Corporation, but they both failed to comply with the requirements set forth in addendums number 2, whereby addendum number 2 was based on a form requirement already contained in the subject bid documents. This will be EN Corporation's first project with GHURA. They also have been cleared by the Department of Labor Compliance, OSHA, and EPLS to board list. See the attached verification. Based on AE staff's review and determination, we are requesting approval to issue the contract to EN Corporation for the total amount of $4,171,892. Funding is available under the CDBG program. And I believe Mr. Sunny Paris is present to answer any questions you may have regarding this intent of award.
Thank you, Madam Director. Mr. Sunny? I just had a quick question, Mr. Thank you. In terms of the Surface and Mega and Art, was it a timing issue that they weren't able to complete the addendum, or was it an arbitrary issue to your knowledge?
Well, let me put it in context here. I did let Urban talk first, actually. These are the individuals that set up the bid and also managed it. I'm just here for the dates.
Okay.
So, please, Urban.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Urban Santiago from AD. And when we put out the addendum 2, it was they did respond, but there were things required in addendum 2 that they did not fulfill. And so that was their issue that we had, that they did not fill out the whole addendum 2 to show that their company can actually complete that contract.
And the rubric, sir, is found in page 13 of your minutes. Perfect. And the rubric along with the evaluation of addendum 2. Yes, so it is there. It was not arbitrary.
Okay.
And was based on that form. We just expanded the.
Gotcha.
And again, added a bit more context. The reason why we did this is because of the large bid amount. We wanted to make sure, again, nothing bad against any contractor whatsoever, but we wanted to make sure all the bases were covered, all the lines dotted, T's, et cetera. Because we do want to get the best contractor, absolutely, and most capable contractor, not just the here, I'll say this way, best value, but we will get the best value, not necessarily the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
May I add?
Yes.
So GHURA is not bound like the rest of Guam to the lowest price. We follow the federal, so getting the best value. So having that, especially for a project of this scale, but this is really a massive undertaking. But the simplest reason as to why that, well, not the simplest reason. The simplest reason for the 3 that were not selected was the requirement under HUD, even with GovGuam, is that they be responsive and responsible. So they were responsive in that they acknowledged the addendum, but not responsible in that they fulfilled the requirements of the addendum. So they're automatically, we couldn't select them even if they had the lowest price and had all of the accolades of a construction company. They didn't fulfill the requirements to be considered both responsive and responsible in that.
And so are we only gonna use this checklist for bigger projects, or can we use it moving forward? So that way, we can choose more responsible.
We are actually, I think what we saw with this and really the deeper dive into the form was based on additional contract management training that we conducted in-house, where now everybody is delving deeper into the contracts in the HUD forms to make sure that we're in full compliance, and we're holding the contractors to full compliance as well. So we've done some, I think we've mentioned in previous board meetings, we've conducted those trainings. And so what you're seeing is kind of just us really holding the contractors to account much more, so that we're not missing timelines and we're not, having constant challenges with them because they're not otherwise prepared and we're not getting the best value for the money.
Perfect.
Yeah, SSH will serve as site safety health officer. That's one of
The acronym.
yeah. And that's usually, yeah, it's
I've
usually
been a manager, I've got 500,000 acronyms.
Oh.
You've been learning since then, yeah. Yes, thank you. Since, what's your feelings on, I mean, this is their genesis or doing work with us.
They've done work at the other agencies, sir. This is not a new.
Example one in general.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay.
Miguel, I know he knows,
Yeah,
he's done work with
we have lots of contracts in each of the.
Okay,
Oh.
okay. So they have federal.
Yes,
background.
federal.
I have a question for Sunny, please. In one of the checklists, the verification of status for contractors under IN Corporation, which is what you're requesting for us to approve, you're under Department of Labor column, the workman's compensation for IN Corporation expires on December 31, 2023, which is this year, and the project or the construction for the GPD, Eastern Substation, would that affect the contract in terms of compliance with all your regulations and guidelines on the bid package?
Madam Commissioner, I'm going to let Mr. Urban Santiago answer that for you because he's pretty much taking care of the wage compliance and the personnel issues as well.
Right.
Madam Commissioner, usually contractors will renew on the month that they're expired. And we've also done, we've also checked after going on December that it would expire. In January, Miss Cherry of A&E will verify the renewal of that. So it's renewed on the month of when it's expired.
Sounds right. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. I don't think the substation can be constructed and finished by that time, so workman's compensation, definitely, there's always hazards involved and you need to be on top of that.
Yes, ma'am. Good catch.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Sunny, what's the time frame for the start completion, ECA?
That's the. One days.
Not having the impact, but I'm almost sure it'll be like around 18 months.
18. That's typical. Typical 18 for something this large.
Right. Yeah.
From the time of notice to proceed. Right. Now, since this is and this is a design build, there's a good chance that there is a certain time frame for the design permitting, because the permitting takes. It's strange, yeah. It's kind of a volatile, soft. Duration, and so there will be the permitting part, and also going to be the construction part. Hopefully, again, if we've shown, or I should say the deputy as well as the admin director have shown that they can help push and solidify that permit schedule, right, better than what was done.
Just like anything in construction.
That sounds right.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Any other questions, commissioners?
I have none.
Yeah, we're not seeing any questions. May I get a motion for item number 3, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve intent to award ISB 23-02 CDCVEG BPD ESS Guam Division Eastern Subdivision to Iron Corporation at $4,171,892 $0. As amended. Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Flores. May I get a second, please?
I will second that.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I should show of hands, we get to take a vote. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, as well. All right, moving along. Item number 4, intent of award, IFB number GHURA -23-16. Renovation and upgrade of basketball court to Total Gardens.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Sanchez. Intent of award, IFB number GHURA -23-16. Renovation and upgrade of basketball court at Total Gardens. The bid opening for the subject project was held on August 9th, 2023 at 2:00 p.m. A total of 8 contractors registered for the bid and were given bid specifications, of which 3 submitted a bid. Listed below are the results of the bid submissions, which were opened and read out aloud publicly. Contractor number 1 was Surface Solutions with a bid bond of $104,100. Base bid number 1 at $694,000. Contractor number 2 was Guam Evergreen Corporation with a bid bond of 15% and base bid number 1 of $868,000. Contractor number 3 was OH Construction with a bid bond of 15% and base bid number 1 of $890,000. The government estimate was $1,029,392.37. The intent of the project is to renovate and upgrade the basketball court as per scope of work. Base bid 1 consists of the basketball courts located in Totu. Renovation and upgrade includes, but is not limited to, cleaning common areas, carpentry, painting, plumbing, sewer replacement, and electrical work. A detailed scope of work is included in the bid documents for review. In review of the bid results, Surface Solutions provided the lowest responsive and responsible bid. They have been cleared by the Department of Labor Compliance, OSHA, and EPLS debarred list. See attached verification. Based on AE staff's review and determination, we are requesting approval to issue the contract to Surface Solutions for the total amount of $694,000. Funding is available under the Capital Fund program. And we again have our AE's manager, Sunny Perez, and staff available for any questions you may have.
Solutions.
Thank you, Madam Director.
Hey, Sonny, I just have one question again.
Yes, sir.
This bond at $104,100, that is actually 15% of the bids here. Why is it separate? And not just say 15%? Is there a?
Well, sir, that's probably, and I guess I'm guessing on this one, that's probably a cash bond.
Oh, okay.
Cash,
I thought it was.
yeah. As compared to the other ones, which are bonds.
Okay. That's right. That is 15%.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any further questions on the matter? Mr. Sunny, when would be the, what's the ETA on this?
The project starts.
Yeah.
8 months.
Oh, 8 months. Okay.
So this is gonna take 8 months as, okay.
8 months.
From the NT.
Yes.
Right.
That's correct.
After they receive the permit.
And
That's good.
Yeah.
Then they'll start, and then 8 months from there. Right.
And Sunny,
Yes, sir.
this is listed as a renovation and upgrade, but I'm seeing on the itemized listing,
Mhm.
foundation, sub-foundation, evaluation, groundwork. Is this a new basketball or is it a renovation? That for over the existing one?
I'll let the entire, the technical. Yeah.
So, the intent of the project is, there's an existing basketball court. And, we're gonna provide the new, covered legal structure. So it's it's a fabricated, steel structure. So we're gonna provide only the new foundation
On top of
over the existing basketball court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not gonna work. Because the wording here was really throwing me off. It looks okay to me.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Commissioner Corpus. That was actually a good slide. Thank you. Any further discussions on this? So you're done? Thank you, gentlemen, once again. Commissioner, may I get a motion to approve item number 4?
I will make a motion to approve intent of award IFB number GHURA -23-16. The renovation and upgrade of basketball court in Toku Gardens to Surface Solutions in the amount of $694,000.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Corpus. And may I show have your vote, please? Let's see. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, Commissioners. Right, moving on. Item number 5, summary of Deputy Director Board evaluation.
Hi, thank you, Vice Chairman. I will defer to Ms. Kim Berseman, our HR Administrator, for this item.
Thank you, Madam Director.
Yes, thank you, Director Liz. With respect to item number 5, I'm pleased to report the summary of the Deputy Director's Board evaluations. So I'm just gonna basically read, this is the summary of the performance evaluation for the review period of August 22, 2022 last year to August 21, 2023. It represents a 12-month annual review period for his salary increment. So pursuant to our board statute, the board decided back in July 8, 2019, that each member will evaluate and then submit those ratings to HR to be compiled and reported back. So this is my report back. Based on the overall rating submitted, Mr. Esteves earned an outstanding performance evaluation rating and will be retained as GHURA's Deputy Director. Again, this performance evaluation period covers his annual salary anniversary of August 22, 2022 to August 21, 2023. And he was evaluated on 13 factors or dimensions: leadership, strategic planning, communicates vision and direction, champions innovation, promotes ethics, builds relationship, decision-making, leads change, inspires and directs action, promotes diversity, accountability, fiscal and fiduciary responsibility, business acumen, and effective operation and maintenance of HUD's plans and projects. Therefore, as a result of the overall performance evaluation by the GHURA Board of Commissioners, this will equate to a 2% salary increment pursuant to our board rules and regulations and the board resolution that was adopted in 2022 that adjusted that anniversary salary increment down to 2% only. So respectfully, I report back to you and I respectfully request that you can adopt my report. Because the prior AG had felt that it's the date you guys approved it, even though it's the anniversary, how we process salary increments. We differ there, but we will follow the prior AG's position on it. So today will be his effective date on
For his increment.
that. His increment, performance increment.
No.
Yes, we're sorry.
Don't worry. I'm more appreciative of your faith and confidence.
Yeah.
You know.
If I may, I don't get to evaluate my deputy director, and I really just want to express that I'm so pleased that you have all unanimously given him an outstanding rating on his first year in his position, and he really is so deserving of it. And I just wanted to say that since joining Team GHURA, he really has exhibited professionalism, knowledge, and leadership skills. I always tell him beyond his years. He continues to amaze us with his intelligence, resourcefulness, analytical, and innovative thinking. He's very thorough, as you've all seen, in his research and understanding of both federal and local policies and regulations as it pertains to GHURA and its mandates. And he's able to articulate it so that others are receptive to needed changes and or improvements that he may be recommending. So he really has been an asset to GHURA, and even particularly for me, after the losses of valued personnel that we experienced shortly before he joined GHURA. So his knowledge, expertise, talents, and skills are also recognized outside of GHURA, as his input on various matters is often sought. Seriously, a lot of people, will call and go, can we talk to the DD about this or that, right? Or call him directly. And so I just wanted to share that we both have, we share a mutual professional respect, work ethics, and we trust in each other's partnership and contributions of what we envisioned we want to make towards GHURA's goals and missions. And so I know I speak for Team GHURA when I say that we are really proud and blessed to have Deputy Director Estevez with us. And we're excited and look forward to all the possibilities he contributes in bringing GHURA to the next level. So congratulations, Deputy Director Estevez, and you can't go anywhere, okay?
Congratulations.
Okay, I'm sorry, I choose to adopt the summary of deputy director, the board evaluations, where his increment will be effective today, September 21st, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion approved. Show of hands. Commission, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, somebody approved. Congratulations, Dee.
Thank
Well
you.
deserved.
Happy to continue working with you. We do a lot.
Yes.
We do a lot more to do.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to new projects.
All right, moving along. Item number six, summary of our executive director, board evaluations.
Okay,
Take it
thank
away.
you again, Commissioners. I won't take much of your time. I am respectfully requesting to table Director Liz's evaluation.
Okay.
The final evaluations were received when she was on leave, and I'd like to afford her the opportunity. She's still my employee. I'm going to afford her the opportunity to review it and make comments, and then we hope to report back at the next board meeting. So, permission to table.
Granted, we'll table the summary of our executive director to our next board meeting tentatively.
Yeah.
Yes, gotcha.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kim, for that. Thank you, Dee, again, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on. Excuse me, item number 7, resolution number FY 2023-23. Resolution approving the fiscal year 2024 operating budgets for public housing asset management projects and GQ 001 00001, GQ 001 00002, GQ 001 00003, and GQ 001 00004.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sanchez. And if I may, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read resolution number FY 2023-023. And then as well, resolution number FY 2023-024. And if we can hold the questions until after I read both resolutions, and then our fiscal our controller is present to answer any questions that you may have. Okay. All right. Resolution number. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Madam Director, one moment. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, I thought I didn't have the resolution.
Okay, Madam Director, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Resolution number FY 2023-023. A resolution approving the fiscal year 2024 operating budgets for public housing asset management projects AMP GQ 001-000001, GQ 001 00002, GQ 001 00003, and GQ 001 00004. Whereas the authority and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, entered into a consolidated annual contributions contract, ACC number SF-272, dated March 27, 1967. And whereas the authority administers HUD's low rent public housing program, which is subsidized by HUD through its operating fund. And whereas HUD, with the implementation of 990.255 of the operating fund final rule, requires public housing authorities to implement project-based management, project-based budgeting, and project-based accounting. And whereas the authority, in anticipation of the aforementioned requirement, has grouped its housing developments into asset management programs, or AMPs. Whereas the proposed fiscal year 2024 AMP budgeted expenditures are necessary in the efficient and economical operations of the AMPs for the purpose of serving low-income residents. Therefore, be it resolved that the FY 2024 AMP operating budgets for the authority's asset management projects GQ 001 00001, GQ 001 00002, GQ 001 00003, and GQ 001 00004 are hereby approved. And then if I may read resolution number FY 2023-024, resolution approving the fiscal year 2024 operating and administrative budget. Whereas the authority must continue its primary mission to provide safe, decent, and sanitary housing to the people of Guam in fiscal year 2024. And whereas the authority must ensure the continued operation of the public and Indian housing choice voucher, supportive housing for the elderly, and community development programs. And whereas the authority must ensure the continued payment of personnel salaries, benefits, and other administrative expenditures for fiscal year 2024. And whereas to allow the authority the flexibility for addressing situational needs to meet its mission, provide transfer authority of 10% to the executive director within the total budget, and keep the chairman of the board apprised of such transfers Therefore, be it resolved that the fiscal year 2024 operating and administrative budget is hereby approved. And you did have included in your packet the fiscal year 2024 GURA budget. And Ms. Francis Daniele, myself and the BD are present for any questions you may have.
You can barely see the numbers, I'm sorry. It's so small.
I have, the legal copy, yeah. I was hoping we could be able to give it to you guys this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Page. Six.
And that is for, under the public health, the AMS, budget for salaries and wages. In 2023, there are some sections that we've increased the budget. Is it because we're losing, or what would be the reason for that? So for example, sir, salaries and budgets for AMP1, in 2023, our budget was 592, 293. So for 2024, we're proposing 566, 348.
Okay, so that's for the amps. The personnel cost was 3.9 million.
Okay.
And this year they're at 4.1. So the increase will be from increments. And
An additional staff.
Is it?
Yeah, so if I may. So we did an operational analysis. We were having some occupancy issues there. And so we took a deep dive, and what came out in our analysis across all the apps is that there was a bottleneck that we interview with current position. And depending on the app stuff, they had some other needs, right? One maybe needed better specialist. And so the directive was to, we had the funds for it, right? Let's create that position and hire for it. And since then, which began in 2023, I want to say midway through, maybe third quarter, when those positions got filled, we started seeing our occupancy numbers come back up. That way we stay in compliance.
Right, so shouldn't it be higher in 2024?
It is, no,
No?
personnel total is 4.1.
I'm sorry, maybe we're looking at two different. Okay. Looking at the breakdown,
Okay.
Page 60.
Page 16,
Yeah,
yes.
so grand total for FY 24 projection 4.4.
Yeah,
Grand
4.144, so it's the grand
Yeah.
total.
Oh, great.
Yes, and then for 2023, the grand.
Okay,
total is
I was breaking it down by ants,
Oh.
by section. So that's the reason why I was wondering.
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah, yes, and so like AMP1, if we were adding additional staffing,
Mm,
I would think across the board it would go higher, right? It would be a little bit.
Yes, there should be, but.
But it looks like you guys. balanced it out.
they haven't filled the
Yeah,
position.
that's- Okay.
Maybe they didn't fill their position yet.
Okay, okay.
They're actually the smallest cap, so they didn't really have the same talent. They do have some, but they're a little bit more flexible
Okay.
than the larger one folks.
I know we brought that up in, I'm not sure it was the last or the previous.
Budget.
Yeah.
It's actual.
Turning around the curtain, so they can see as quick as possible.
3, 2, 4, 10, 10. 4, 4. Oui.
Chairman, does this have to be time something? I think that's a much more thousand. I mean, that's, yeah, the thing goes on the White House recovery is kind of kind of the thing that we did today, but I like to propose tabling this resolution for the operating budget. This is overwhelming amount of numbers to go through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just
That was what we appreciate.
I don't know, we should have more questions, but we have them.
Yeah, but the only thing is that our fiscal year starts October 1st. Yes, and so HUD, as far as the GQ001s and all those zeros and the 1, those are for the amps. And then we have the other resolution, which is for our operating.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Only because of the time issue. I think that's why it was imperative.
okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, because, Ms. Liz, you chimed in our email, said this is a time sensitive issue to address. So, absolutely. Is there anything, Ms. Fay, that you have, any reservations, concerns that the board members should be aware of in terms of the budget in general?
No, it's just that we're just asking $91 million to operate fiscal year 2024. And in just the breakdown, but it's really just to meet our goals. Yeah, operating wise, there's no big concern.
Okay, so nothing, yeah, okay, perfect.
It's very conservative.
Yeah.
I'm not really, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, well, it's very conservative, which.
Yeah, and if you consider.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Last year's budget was 97.9, and we're down to 91.
Right.
So yes, we are kind of operating at a conservative
Yeah.
level, and so we're not asking for anything more
But
than
to,
we really need to.
in addition to that, to reiterate what Dee was saying, just because you're asking for $91 million, it's still not compromising the quality. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you can function, operate off of the budget,
Right.
because, like I said, looking at the numbers, I'm concerned that it's too conservative, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I just want to make sure that you're able to operate, with what's proposed.
But I'm sure, I mean, even with that number that you're requesting, and we've anticipated all the potential hiccups that could potentially happen. Right, so,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, the one thing I may add is a lot of these numbers are not even by choice, they're kind of hard locked in, right?
Yes,
Whether
that's
it's the
how- yeah,
property
that's
or
true.
it's asset, and
Right,
so we're already generally just constrained by that already. And so, we really do focus on efficiency. There are probably some areas we'll be looking to in the year to be able to, how we revisit revenue generation, at least particularly with the COCC, to allow us to do some more things, but those will be forthcoming. But I'd like to add one more thing. I do apologize. The budget wasn't provided earlier. The storm really did set us back, unfortunately. The standard is 60 days prior to the need for the board action that we would have liked to have gotten this to you. So I beg your forgiveness on this one, and confident it won't happen again.
just don't allow other storms.
There you go.
Yeah.
And thank you for that, Dee. In all fairness, our controller wasn't really aware of that regulation. And so because it was brought to our attention, next year's budget will be in your hands 2 months before we actually have you sit down to review and approve it. So our apologies for the delay and the last minuteness of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Director. Ms. Fay, thank you, because this is an ungodly amount.
91 million.
Anything on that?
Outstanding work on that.
The
You guys
mathematical.
do a good job.
I mean, I'm a numbers guy. Right?
I
I don't want
I'm like, I'm not even gonna show my answers.
I really try.
If I may add, so quarterly, we're constantly running, reports and analyzing and monitoring the budget. If should there be any questions that come up with the budget, right, based, on what happens today, if you approve it, as you have a copy of it and you're reviewing on it, this conversation is ongoing, right? And so information is available to you all, for your questions to be answered.
Well, I have a question. Will it be okay to, because I have this electronically too, and sometimes looking at it electronically is better because you can make it bigger. So would that be okay also with the 2 months? So I wasn't really sure if it has to be like this, no paper for you guys.
I think the most really studying like.
Okay. Okay, yes.
First thing you treat.
Well, we will do this, but for your review, then electronic I think would be a lot better.
It'll be efficient, because in addition to that, we'll be better prepared,
Okay.
coming into this, right? As Commissioner Corpus does make a point. We want to give, the agency the best that we can afford to give. At the same time, we want to come correct as well. And so, yeah, absolutely. That's something that we will set forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Because yeah, I can find glass for us too. That would help us.
So I think the reports will provide whatever information, and I believe, Alicia, correct me if I'm wrong, the board has the ability to amend the budget. That falls within the purview.
If there's a need to do
If
so.
if you guys determine there's a need.
And that's what the DD, I think, was talking about, the quarterly reviews.
Right.
If there's any issues that come up, I believe the board, it can be brought before the board, and the board can vote on amending the budget. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Commissioners, would you like to add, or do you have any questions?
No.
On item number 7 and 8. Okay, thank you, commissioners. May I get a motion to approve item number 7 and item number 8? What action?
So I make a motion to approve resolution number FY 202-023, approving the fiscal year 2024 operating budgets for public housing asset management projects and GQ 001 0000001, GQ 001000002, GQ 001000003, and GQ 001000004. And, okay, and then the second resolution,
One action at a time, I think.
Yeah, I think we should do one action.
Okay.
Yes, so there's no confusion.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I get a second on that?
That's second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Corpus. Show of hands, we can take a vote. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passes. Item number 7, resolution FY 2023-023.
Right.
Moving on to item number 8, resolution number FY 2023-34. And I ask for a motion to get it approved.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve resolution FY 2023-24, approving fiscal budget year 2024 operating and administrative budget.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. Show of hands. The vote. Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 8 is approved. Motion. Okay, go to section number 5. Under old business. Item number 1, section 5. Change order number 2. IFB number GHURA -09-26-2019. CDBG, construction of a lighthouse recovery center for women in season 1.
Thank you for that, Vice Chairman. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this item is not included in our packet. It needs to be tabled until its presentation can be made at the next board meeting. Do I have that correct, Sunny?
Now, I'm sorry.
Sunny, this item is to be tabled until we're ready to present it to the board, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Change.
You're correct. I need to ask
Okay.
the commissioner's indulgence one more time. We just received 2 documents about a week ago, sir, and about 2 inches thick. And so we're going through them with the fine tooth comb.
Gotcha. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Change order number 2, item 1, section 5 is tabled for our next board meeting. Thank you. All right, still under old business, item number 2, resolution number FY 2023-TA-001. Ratification of resolution authorizing travel for attendance in the HUD-sponsored Section 8 Administrators Meeting in Honolulu, Hawaii, on the 8th of September 2023.
Thank you for that, Vice Chairman Sanchez. If I may defer to Ms. Kim regarding this off-island travel training request. I obviously ended up having to approve it because of the fact that the training was happening before the next scheduled board meeting on September 12th. And if I may ask Ms. Kim to chime in on recommendations we're making regarding having off-island training requests go before a travel committee.
Okay, have a good day again. Thank you, Director Liz. Yeah, so with respect to this item, we are looking at trying to be forthcoming of an amendment to the travel policy, because currently what's happening is it requires for many, many years, we had to have a training committee in place to review any type of travel. And so what that means is time delays, inefficiencies, and so in this particular case too, we had to table this. And then the next board meeting fell after and they needed to leave. So Director Liz executed board resolution FY 2019-016 by the late director's time that gave the authority to the director to approve travel in the event there's an emergency or lack of tomorrow. So that's our report back, and we're hoping you will adopt our report on that. And then number 2 is changing the policy to take away that inefficient training committee. I mean, we've heard complaints and recommendations in the past. We take another step and then we end up missing the board meeting, which means higher rates, which means, time and money. So we'd like to give you a heads up. We're going to come to the board pretty soon. Kind of like handicapped here, but we'll get that to you before the end of the year, way before the end of the year. Because we're just going to recommend to take out that training committee. It's unnecessary. If the manager can justify, the board approve the budget, the manager can justify the need for the training to the executive director and the executive team. And then the resolution goes to the board for final review and approval. That's a better, efficient process. So,
And
yes, Director?
I'm sorry, Ms. Kim, and if I may add to that, right? The travel committee themselves, made up usually of managers from the other divisions, right? They're all also saying, okay, why do we have a travel committee? You would think that the manager for that division knows what training the staff needs, and if it's in their budget, why do we need to say yes or no? Us from the other sections are the ones that are deciding whether or not that travel request is going to be approved. So, taking that into consideration as well is, they said if the managers have it in their budget and it's a training that is really warranted, why don't we leave it to the executive management to make that decision on whether that travel request is going to be approved?
And sent to the board.
May I add? One thing to consider is that even if, and I know we're talking prospectively, it doesn't change the requirement that they have to submit all supporting documents for their travel, right? To ensure that they went to it. There's still going to be a requirement to report back and generate a report to executive management that becomes part of the record of the file, reporting back on what they gained from that, from their travel, similar to the slideshow.
And the
I
board.
did, and to the board, yeah. The whole travel committee thing where they added that thick layer of bureaucracy was existent before the strict requirements of the open government law that came. And so they don't work together anymore. So unfortunately, the open government law, the way we have to deal with the agenda, we have little to no flexibility on this. Right. They're coming to a head, and open government is the law. This is, an internal policy, and they're trying to make things work and facilitate it. I mean, the most recent example with this was the executive director had to make a decision because things really got upended with the fire in Lahaina. So HUD was really on the fence to what they were going to be doing too, because things, and so it's makes it very much more difficult, to be able to get the people to the training that they need. And I think we're looking not just with the program side, but even some developmental training and courses that we maybe not just off island, but even locally, and all part of our comprehensive training plan for GHURA.
So, I agree with Ms. Liz that if it's part of the budget, is that something that the board needs to approve?
It doesn't, it would be your prerogative if you want to see.
I'm not sure how everybody feels, right?
Because I think for any type of expense, it needs a board TA approval or something, but we can look further.
Because
That's one less thing.
Yeah, no, because that for me also will delay the process, right? If we can't have a meeting and then you have to go, so I would just think if it's over or if it's an additional training that's not part of the budget, that will be something that I feel like we should approve. Okay.
Definitely, that would be like.
Yeah,
it's just a,
Makes it more efficient.
yeah, it's just an option.
That's a good option.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Absolutely.
So are we approving anything or is this
Oh,
just
this
an
is,
FYI?
one of the policies.
FYI?
Policy that, gave the direct authorization actually requires them to report back. So
Okay.
thank you for accepting our report.
Yes, thank you.
I
Except,
Maybe the amendment will be on the next board. Put
put it on the next one.
The policies. The amendment.
Your time was safely, I promise it's my last meeting.
No, we're.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. All right, Madam Director, did you have anything to add to item number 2?
No, that's it. We'll come back to the board and let you know, how we're going to, I guess, amend the travel committee if there needs to be an amendment based on regulations, et cetera. So we'll take another look at it, but we wanted to make you aware of what we were considering doing because, it just kind of complicates things to have a travel committee. And then if we don't have meetings, there goes the travel, right? So
Right.
thank you for listening to what we're going to be proposing in the future.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Madam Director. Thank you, Ms. Killigan. Appreciate that. Okay, moving along to item number 6, Executive Director's Report. Madam Director.
Actually, thank you for that. I really don't have anything to add to today, and I believe the only thing there was in case there was a question on the status of the Women's Treatment Center. Mr. Sunny had some updated, I guess, pic photos of the completion. I don't know if Audrey, are you going to put that on the screen? Share.
Not just me. Go.
That's good. I approve it.
Okay, all right. May I speak?
You got the floor, Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioners, Madam Director and Mr. Deputy. Thank you again for allowing me to make this presentation. Just as a quick update on the Women's Treatment Center, and this is what you will be seeing. Yeah, now there are separate views that I created here. There are 2 views from the side and of course a view from the front. Now, before I go into the views and the pictures, I would like to first recognize my staff. These are the guys that push inland builders every day. Urban here does a lot of wage compliance. Now that might not seem too important until they need to get paid. Now, why is that important is because we need to meet our timeliness and all those things. And so one of the small but big things that keep from processing payment is wage compliance. If they're, what do you call the CPRs? What is CPRs?
Payroll.
There you go. Those are the things that if we don't get them verified, validated, blah, 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 we can't release it all. Weekly. They're weekly, yes, weekly. So things like that. Mike and Miguel, these are the enforcers. These are the guys that actually go out and make sure that the pipe is 2 feet down. The rebar is 16 inches apart, et cetera, et cetera. And so these 3 gentlemen here make sure that you have a quality product. It's always what you inspect, never what you expect. And that's why these guys are always out there, along with Madam Cherry. Nonetheless, let's move on. Next slide, please, on this, Audrey. As you can see, these are the 2 views. The facility itself has gotten painted, except for the big back structure. Okay, so the 2 sides. Yeah, the 2 sides have already their first, is that primer, Miguel?
Yes, primer.
That's primer. Yeah, so the first coat of primer is up and the second coat will be coming up very soon. Usually that's applied when it doesn't rain too much. So that's what they're trying to count on right now. Okay, next slide, please, Ms. Audrey. These are a couple of the interior shots coming from the front end of the building. Okay, as you can see, in your handout is a lot better. You can see the lights and the material above, or the piping and the wires above the ceiling grid. It has already been installed and they're about ready to cover. And as you notice too, the walls, the interior walls have been put up and are painted. Is that primer or is that final coat? That's still primer? Yeah. So that's the interior center hallway in the middle of the facility. And you can see the view right underneath where it's Women's Treatment Center. Those are the guys that are installing the center grid again. HVAC has been installed, the ducting has been installed, wiring, et cetera, et cetera. So that picture there is about 2 weeks old. So much progress has already been made since that picture was taken. As of today's date, we have an 83% completion. By the end of the month, we're expecting 85%. And usually when you reach this part of the project, it's difficult to squeeze production. You know, they have what, 25 guys? Yeah, about 25 guys every day. For a project this size, that's a lot, really. And if you want to put more guys, they'll end up stepping all over each other. So that's kind of the balancing act that we have right now. We want to push them, we want to keep them on the, what's that, the 45-degree incline at number 10, but we again don't want them to be falling over one another. So we're looking at, again, this is not official, we're looking at a completion of December, if not sooner. Yeah. Okay, and that concludes my presentation.
Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely come a long way. Looking very nice. Mr. Sunny, it says 83%. The last percentage of that, what are we looking at, the last part of the funnel for completion?
85 by the end of the month, sir.
85 and
85 at the end. And then the last final push, the last 15%. The depends, probably take 2 months. Keep them on schedule.
Thank you. Plan for the ribbon cutting. I would have
Yeah, we expect, I call it beneficial occupancy, right? Roughly end of November, December. Hopefully, but then that of course has to correspond to the furniture. Furniture. If you don't have furniture, well,
Thank you, John, and thank you, Mr. Sunny.
you're welcome.
Commissioners, would you like to expound or add anything to that? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, Madam Director, on that. We'll just move on to the general discussion. Item number 7. For the next proposed scheduled board meeting will be Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. And as we come to a conclusion,
I had one thing. I'm sorry, Madam Director. It just dawned on me, I was reviewing the board minutes. Our last meeting was August 8th. And right around that time, I don't think we had officially let you guys know we received the results from our CCMR from HUD, our compliance, comprehensive compliance monitoring review, which covered the public Indian housing program. So Section 8, FSS, ROS, and public housing. And so we had just received it around that time frame. I believe I was just coming off my annual training. So we evaluated. Long story short, GHURA was deemed low risk. There were a couple minor findings and observations that they shared on, how we can improve things, so we took those in, we submitted the response. Was due on Monday, we submitted that in on time and made sure we answered all of those. Some of the findings that we can share that with you were kind of outside of our control. One was, you don't have this record, and it was actually one of the records that was seized by the FBI, they still have it, so, we just kind of took it and went with it. But proud to report the great work of our team in responding to that in GHURA's low risk status with regard to public Indian housing and HUD.
That's great.
It's good, yeah. Sure.
It's a reflection of our agency and its leadership. All right, with that being said, thank you, Judy, for that additive. I appreciate that. We're going to be now going into our executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think you gotta make the motion. You gotta move to go.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
You can make a motion
A
to,
motion to segue right into our executive session.
Okay, I second the motion, or I'll
you would do a motion and then second.
Can I get
You can take it.
can I get a motion to move into our executive session?
Thank you, Commissioner Corpus. And then you can just take a vote, sir.
Let's take a vote,
Yeah.
commissioners. All right, vote passes. We're now in executive session.
Okay. Thank you.
Audrey?
You can pause, or go off the air.
Oh,
Thank you for entertaining us today, Commissioners. So I know it's a long day, so thank you for allowing us to come in. I'm gonna go ahead and get the court reporter
thanks for.
and Attorney McDonald.
I'm gonna step out real quick.
Oh, yeah, sure, please, use your breath. You want to take a 5-minute break? Hey, Joe. Hey. Oh, how are you?
Yes, been a while.
You care for another water?
I'm good.
You're good. Hi, George. How you doing, man? Yeah.